Good evening, and welcome to this candidate forum for the Los Gatos Saratoga Union High School District. There are 5 candidates running for the 3 open seats, although we only have 3 of those candidates here with us tonight. My name is Sophia Cao, the president of the League of Women Voters Southwest Santa Clara Valley, which covers the cities of Los Gatos, Saratoga, Montecito, Campbell, and a segment of West San Jose. I would like to thank our voter service team who organized this forum tonight. Julie Reynolds-Grabbe, Wendy Henry, Dan Henry, Gail Nishimuru, Tom Pickrell, Amy Wu, Eleanor Yek, and myself, Sophia Tao. And now I will turn this meeting over to our Vice President and Voter Service Director, Eleanor Yek.
Thank you, Sophia. Before we begin our forum, I would like to share with our audience some general information about the League of Women Voters. The League of Women Voters is a national grassroots organization. When you join your local league, you automatically become a member at all levels. In our case, that would be local, Bay Area, state, and national. This candidate forum is being sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Southwest Santa Clara Valley, again, which covers the 4 cities, Los Gatos, Saratoga, Montecito, and Campbell, and a segment of West San Jose. Next slide, please. The League of Women Voters has been empowering voters and defending democracy for over 100 years. The League has 2 very distinct roles: voter service and public education, and action and advocacy. The League, for your information, is nonpartisan. It never endorses or opposes any political party or any candidate. But the League does advocate when we have studied an issue, such as education, and developed a position on it. Some examples of the League's voter service program are candidate forums, which we are doing tonight, pros and cons on the ballot measures. Watch for our presentations in early October this year. We conduct voter registration events, and we encourage all voters to visit this site, votersedge.org. where you can enter your address or zip code and get a copy of your personalized ballot, and you can see everything that was on there. You will be receiving your mail-in ballot starting the week of October 10th. Continue on. Our next election is scheduled for November 8th, 2022. As I mentioned, your ballot will be mailed to you around October 10th or starting the week of October 10th. And you have 3 choices as to how you will return that ballot. You can just simply drop it in the mail because you are provided with a postage paid envelope. You can drop it in a secure mailbox called a drop box, or you can visit a vote center in Santa Clara County. When you get your voter pamphlet from the Santa Clara Register of Voters, the list of vote centers will be in there. For additional information, you can contact the Register of Voters at santaclaracountyvote.org. You can track your ballot, and you can check your registration status. You can also go into where'smyballot.sos.ca.gov. You will be receiving a copy of your ballot, as I mentioned, starting the week of October 10th. On your ballot, some voters in Santa Clara County, or all voters, will be voting on candidates for federal offices, such as Congressional District 16, state offices, county-wide offices, the sheriff, some new assembly districts due to redistricting, 26, 28, and 23, some local town and city councils, some local school boards, just like tonight. Local Los Gatos residents will be voting on a local Measure J, which is about a business license tax, and Saratoga residents will be voting on a local Measure C, term limits. Again, you can get additional information at votersedge.org. And now I am happy to turn this forum over to our moderator for tonight, Julie Reynolds-Grabbe, a former trustee of the Moreland School District and an education advocate and someone who is very interested in education and was eager to lead this forum tonight. Welcome, Julie, and thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm pleased to welcome and introduce 3 of the 5 candidates who are running for the 3 open seats on the Los Gatos Saratoga Union High School Board. The candidates are campaigning for a 4-year term for the Los Gatos Saratoga Union High School District and are listed in alphabetical order. Candidate Misty Davies, please put on your video. Hi there. Candidate Dave Guidry, please put on your video. There we go. And candidate Alex Shultz, please put on your video. Thank you very much. The candidates will make their opening statements in reverse alphabetical order. After the opening statements, the candidates will respond to questions in a randomized order. Candidates, we so appreciate your willingness to participate in this virtual forum tonight. Audience members, I would like to highlight for you some ground rules the candidates have agreed to observe during this forum. The League supports the accepted norms of civil discourse, and in that light, the candidates have agreed to follow those norms that were outlined in a document they received. For example, candidates have agreed not to interrupt each other and to follow the allotted response times. Candidates are reminded that they don't have to use the full time allotted, but are requested not to exceed the allotted time. Our timer for tonight's forum is League member Wendy Hendry. Please turn on your video. Okay, she will be giving the candidates reminders as they answer questions about the time remaining and when time has elapsed. For example, timer on, 30 seconds, 15 seconds, and then a stop sign. Thank you, Wendy. Candidates have been requested to end their sentence once the stop sign is displayed. This forum is scheduled to last approximately 1 hour. Each candidate will have 90 seconds to introduce himself by specifically answering this question in their opening statement. What qualifies you to be a trustee for the Los Gatos Saratoga Union High School District? After these opening statements, candidates will have 60 seconds to answer subsequent questions which have been submitted through the registration process, obtained from social media sites, and or developed by League members. As the moderator, I will announce and enforce time limits for each question. And lastly, the forum will close with the candidates speaking in a modified reverse order from the opening statement, answering this question. What question do you wish you had been asked tonight? Why and how would you have responded? Candidates will have 90 seconds to respond. But before we begin with our 3 candidates, we have an opening statement from candidate Steve Chen, who was not able to participate due to his travel schedule. Our Voter Services Director, Eleanor, will read the statement now.
Good evening. My name is Steve Chen, and I want to thank the League of Women Voters for inviting me to their forum, and I apologize that I cannot attend in person. I believe I am an ideal candidate for the Los Gatos Saratoga board position because I can evaluate and critique issues from multiple perspectives as a teacher, parent, and longtime community member. First, I am recently retired. I am a recently retired teacher from Los Gatos High School, where I taught mathematics for the past 5 years. As a teacher, I know the challenges and demands of my colleagues who are tasked with educating our children. Second, I am also a proud parent of 3 children who are all graduates of Los Gatos High School, so I share the same expectations that you have for your children. Finally, I am a longtime community member. My wife, Randy, and I have lived in downtown Los Gatos for the past 29 years. I choose to live here for the same reason you do. I'm committed to improving our already excellent schools while continuing to actively engage with the community. As a board member, I believe I can provide practical advice and solutions through the balanced prism of my perspectives as a teacher, parent, and community member. Just as important, I believe I have a proven track record in working with others to get things done. Prior to teaching, I spent 30+ years in the technology industry, serving as Vice President of Sales and Marketing at a number of public and private small companies. I am practiced in communicating and working in a team environment to identify and resolve issues to reach desired outcomes. I believe my interpersonal skills and experiences will enable me to work effectively with all stakeholders who care about our schools, including administration, teachers, parents, local businesses, and government. I have a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering from Stanford University, as well as a master's degree in education from Santa Clara University. If you want additional information, please visit my website at stevechen2022.com. Again, I want to thank the League of Women Voters for reading my personal statement. My name is Steve Chen, and I appreciate your consideration and vote. Thank you. Now I will read another opening statement from another candidate for the Los Gatos Saratoga Union High School District, Chris Miller. Candidate Miller was not present for this forum due to a league error. Here is his statement. I am a graduate of Davies Avenue Elementary, Fisher Middle School, and Los Gatos High School. I received a BA and 2 MAs from Santa Clara University. In 2019, I received a doctorate in education from the University of San Francisco. Making decisions that balance the needs of students, parents, staff, and the community presents a challenge because we live in an age of uncertainty concerning climate, funding, and security. No university course or training program can teach a person to make the right decision all the time. All we have are personal experiences that shape our individual decision-making process. My experience includes serving as an elected member of the Los Gatos Union School District Board of Trustees, 2004 through 2012, serving on the high school district's bond oversight, parcel tax, and budget advisory committees, working on state, county, and local committees to address the mental health needs of students, and working on educational projects with Rotary International. Currently, I teach sophomores and juniors at a private high school, and I am well aware of the students' challenges. Perhaps my most significant achievement has to be instrumental in getting legislation passed that mandates a mental health component in all classes that deal with health throughout the state of California. The district has done an excellent job in most areas, but I think more focus needs to be placed on the following 4 items. Number 1, the mental wellness of our students, staff, and faculty is of utmost importance. As a prospective board member, I will advocate for greater services and instruction on student well-being. The school district has done a poor job at communicating with constituents in the broader community. As a prospective board member, I will advocate and push for greater communication with the broader community, including the issuance of an annual report. Number 3, the school district, like many in the Bay Area, has a difficult time in recruiting and retaining teachers due to the high cost of living. As a prospective board member, I will advocate for outside-the-box thinking around teacher recruitment and retention, including the possibility of teacher housing within the district. And lastly, in comparison to similar communities, Los Gatos High School has higher rates of 30-day marijuana and alcohol use. As a prospective board member, I will advocate for the implementation of a research-based approach to reduce substance abuse among adolescent population. Please check my website, www.chrismiller4sb.com, for more information, and please vote for Chris Miller for school board. Thank you.
Now, let's begin. Again, we will start with each candidate's opening statement responding to the question, what specifically qualifies you to be a trustee on the Los Gatos Saratoga Union High School Board of Trustees? Candidates will have 90 seconds to respond to this question. We will be doing this in reverse alphabetical order, and our first candidate is Mr. Alex Shultz. You have 90 seconds to answer that question.
Thank you for organizing this event for us. Really appreciate it. I'm a former Los Gatos High School science teacher and also a parent of 3 Los Gatos High School graduates. I taught at Los Gatos High for 28 years And I would begin each year, the first day of school, telling my students that they are at the tail end of our country's greatest gift, which is 13 years of free education, an education that they can use to make something of themselves so they can go into the world and compete in whatever it is that they choose to do with their life. My classroom experience and my background as a parent provide me with a unique understanding of the opportunities as well as the challenges that we face at these two great schools. I have a perspective that I'll bring to the board that I think will be important in ensuring the success of all of our students. We're fortunate in that we have two outstanding comprehensive schools that meet the needs of our student body, a diverse student body. And I'd like to help take it into the future. We have an ever-changing environment, a rapidly changing environment, and I think that my experiences could help navigate through those things. If elected, I'll perform my duties as board member with an open mind, objectivity, and a willingness to listen and learn. And again, my name is Alex Shultz, and I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next candidate is Mr. Dave Guidry. You have 90 seconds.
Hi, hello, and thank you to the League of Women Voters and to everyone who's put this forum together. I'm in a uniquely qualified position because I am currently on the school board and I'm the only incumbent that's currently running for this. I'm also the only candidate who's had experience being on a school board. So it gives me a very unique opportunity. I just wanted to note also that my background before that was also very qualifying for the position. I worked in high tech as an executive for over 30 years. I have a chemical engineering degree from Cal Berkeley and an MBA from the London Business School. I have been very active in our schools for over the last 10 years, having two kids who graduated from Saratoga High School, both of whom are still in college. And that includes time as the president of the Saratoga High School Foundation. I was also chaperone lead and did a lot of other volunteer roles at the schools. I'm also very active in the community, and I'm currently the president of the Friends of the Saratoga Library, which I just think a big plug for because we just won Volunteer Association of the Year for the city of Saratoga. So thank you very much, and I look forward to telling you more during this forum.
Thank you so much. And our next candidate is Ms. Misty Davies.
Thank you so much for inviting us. We really appreciate this opportunity. My name is Misty Davies, and I really believe with my whole heart about the power of our public schools to change our kids' lives. And the reason I believe that is that I grew up in rural Oklahoma to teenage parents. My mother got her high school degree the year before I did. And I really believe that it is the public schools and caring teachers who are the reason that I now have a PhD in mechanical engineering from Stanford University, and I work as a project manager. My family chose to make this community our home 16 years ago. I do currently have a student in our high schools, and I will have children in our high schools for the next 7 years. I'm the only candidate who is a working parent of children in our district. My experience means that I'll make data-informed decisions. But again, my own personal experience and the experience that I have watching my children and working with my children means that I have a very strong student-centered focus. Many of you do know me because of all of the leadership roles I've held. I did earn the 2018 Saratoga Union District Volunteer of the Year Award. I'm endorsed by our local Teachers Association. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you, candidates. That concludes our opening round. We will now move on to questions submitted through the registration process or developed by League members. The candidates will now have 60 seconds to respond to each question unless otherwise specified. The candidates will respond to these questions in a randomized order, so everyone has the opportunity to go first, middle, and last. Now let's begin with our first question, and Ms. Davies will be first. Okay, first question. What are the roles and responsibilities of a school board today?
So the primary role and responsibility is to act as the trustee, the community's oversight of the district as a whole. As a community, we make an investment in these public schools, and we have an interest in making sure that they're meeting the community's goals and needs. That being said, sometimes school boards dive a little too deep. The trustees themselves are not the experts in education. And it's really important to remember that the boards have a single employee who is the superintendent of the district. And so there's a balance between really performing that oversight role and performing it well, and also making sure that you're not diving into the areas where you're not the expert, and making sure that you understand how to evaluate expert opinions when you yourself are not the expert. The other major,
Okay, thank you. Okay, next we will have Mr. Guidry answer the same question. Do you need me to read it again, or are you good?
I think I have it. Roles and
Okay.
responsibilities of the board.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Yeah, so in terms of the roles and responsibilities of the board, I think Misty did a pretty good job of summarizing them. You basically have oversight, especially in terms of the financials, ensuring that the district stays financially secure. You also, as a board, you set the vision and the direction for where the district is going. That's a key part and role of the board. And then the last one, I think, is that you're the voice of the community, especially the students, the parents, and also being able to work with the staff to understand that too. In terms of one of the key roles is also that you, as Misty mentioned, you do have one direct report, which is a superintendent. And so one of the key things that we've had to do in the past year is hire a superintendent. And then you also have to manage that superintendent and ensure that you work closely with him to run the school, make sure that everything is moving smoothly and that we're getting the results we want.
Thank you so much. Okay, and now we're going to go to Mr. Shultz and we'll do the same question. Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Thank you. I think Misty and David really summed it up really well. The only thing that I would add to that is that, as David said, we do have a new superintendent. And I think that they're coming from a large school district in San Francisco, and we're a small district. I think what I've noticed is that when we have administrators who come from larger districts, they don't understand the intimacy that you can have here at a two school district. And sometimes I think, like Misty suggested, that maybe they go a little too deep and they might micromanage the sites. And I think that it's important to help a new superintendent navigate the opportunities that they have in an intimate two-school district.
Thank you so much. Okay, now we're going to move on to our next question, and I'll read the question, and then Mr. Shultz, you'll go first this time.
Okay.
Okay, the question is, what do you think are the most pressing issues, such as school safety, that the district is facing, and how do you think those issues should be addressed? You have 60 seconds.
Wow, 60 seconds. It's really complicated. We did all these different things at Los Gatos High School, training, intruder drills. People suggested that we put a fence around the high school and around the perimeter. We have an open campus. Our community, our students love having the freedom that provides. Whatever decision is made, there's always costs and benefits to that. Saratoga is the same way. It's a large campus. It'd be difficult to enclose. We can do all the training that we can do and hope and pray for the best. but these are difficult situations to prepare for. And it would definitely need to be discussed within the community if we wanted to enclose the campuses and close campus for lunch, which I think is, you know, the logical thing that people would look for first, but I don't know if that's realistic.
Thank you so much. Okay, next up is Miss Davies. You're next. Do you need me to reread the question or are you good?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's a really complex question. You specifically listed school safety, so I'll start there. There's, unfortunately, the issues around school safety, a lot of them can't be solved at the school district level. That being said, there are things that school districts can do. There's a wealth of research around things that school districts can do. Almost all of the issues around school safety, the perpetrator is known in that community. And so certainly there are things we can do about making sure that we're identifying and supporting the people in our community who may become perpetrators. And so that's certainly something that we should do right away. I do worry when we start to talk about closing ourselves off. Again, we have an emotional health issue. And so it's really important not to close ourselves off and contribute more to that. There's a balance.
Thank you. All right, same question to Mr. Guidry.
Yeah, so as the other two mentioned, trying to list the most pressing issues in our school in 60 seconds is quite the challenge in and of itself. I think in terms of most critical short-term issues that we're still kind of coming to the end of, hopefully, is COVID recovery and making sure that we are back to some kind of a new normal, both in terms of the safety of our students and our staff, and also in terms of making sure that our students are able to move back into living and the educational experience that they're expecting. That primarily means focusing a lot on the social emotional learning of our students. And that's why we put a lot of focus on our board to trying to do a lot to improve the mental health of our students. And then at the same time, we have issues around academic, making sure that the kids are all caught up academically and able to continue to pursue their education at the levels that we expect from them.
Thank you so much. Okay, Mr. Guidry, you're up next again. Question 4 is some decisions made about the emergency and ongoing responses to the COVID pandemic by town, city, and county governments, as well as school districts, were controversial in local communities. Please share with us your perspective on what would guide your decision-making in a similar situation.
Okay. I think I would probably do things very similar to what we did in the past. The real key is that we are a community. We are a complete community, and we have a lot of different experts in a lot of different areas. And we don't all want to be the ones second guessing everybody else's expertise. So in regards to the issues that we had around health and safety of our children, we had Saratoga as a public health officer providing guidance on exactly when we could be open in schools, what were the requirements to be open, and how we do that. And that is absolutely the most critical thing, is that we follow those rules and that we don't try to move outside of that. And then I think the other part of that is recognizing that different community members have different needs, and making sure that when we do provide solutions for opening and handling the schools, that we meet the needs of all of the students. So some need to be back early, some may need to stay home longer, and we need to be able to support all of them.
Thank you so much. Same question now to Mr. Shultz.
Yes. You know, hindsight is always 20/20. I really feel that everyone, parents, teachers, board members, school board, everyone involved did their very best to navigate through an ever-changing dynamic situation in something that we had never experienced before. And I take my hat off to David for navigating through that and helping our community through that difficult time. And as you said, you know, I think the community thinks that we have free reign to do what we want, but we're dictated to by our county and by our state and the governor. And there's things that we can do to help students. I really feel that we did the best that we could, and everyone should acknowledge that the teachers did the very best that they could. I can't tell you how many teachers I've run into who say, I've never worked so hard in my entire career and felt so badly about the product that I produced. And they're heartbroken by it. And I just hate seeing that. Anyways, everyone who did this, thank you for all that you tried and all that you did.
Thank you very much. Okay, now same question to Ms. Davies.
I hate it when we go last. We're all so good at summing this up. It's hard to find the holes. So I absolutely agree. The uncertainty bars were very, very high, and we had to listen to the experts all the way through and do the best that we could. In the end, for this particular issue, we had a huge concern between physical health and the spreading of a novel virus that we didn't completely understand what the outcomes might be, and our students' mental health, not only our students, but the staff, the administration, the parents, all of us. One thing I wish we had all done, it was to take a little bit more time to calm the tone of the discourse. And that's the only thing that I wish as a community we could have figured out how to do. But honestly, everybody who was in the thick of it, I think we did an amazing job given what we knew at every point in this particular pandemic.
Thank you so much. And Ms. Davies, you're back on again here. This is the new question. What are your ideas to help students struggling to catch up after the educational disruption of COVID?
So one of the things that I'm encouraged by, if you look at data from the past, even places that were war torn, students catch up, right? So the first thing that I'd like to say is everybody probably needs to take a deep breath. I firmly believe we're going to get there, especially in our district where we are incredibly well resourced and have a community that really cares. So that being said, I honestly, as much as I must commend the teachers here for already, at least in our district, doing just that. They're already bridging that gap. And the important thing is to make sure that we continue to catch individuals and expand our individualized instruction, not only for this event, but for others, and to catch those students who, for whatever reason, need a different model in order to reach their success.
Thank you. Okay, next up we have Mr. Guidry. Same question. Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to get that.
Okay.
I'm trying to push the button there.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
So ideas to help students catch up. I think we're implementing some of those. I think Misty provided some good ideas on that too. We're offering some tutoring services on the school right now to help kids in an individual level when they need help. The fact that we have a tutorial every day now, I think provides them a lot more opportunity to meet with teachers, to work with the ones where they're struggling and needing it. I think the wellness centers are doing a lot to help kids who might be a little bit more stressed out because of various things and not feeling comfortable and needing a break. And so I think that's been a very helpful thing for them as well. And then we've really tried a lot in terms of monitoring the students. I've been really proud of the student services group and the efforts they've made towards making sure that we catch the kids early who are struggling and work with those kids right away rather than waiting until they fail and then trying to deal with the problems.
Thank you very much. And lastly, we have Mr. Shultz. Same question.
You know, one of the things that I noticed throughout my career in teaching 34 years is the underappreciation of the resiliency of the youth and their ability to respond. And I know that there are students who are having difficulty, and David gave, the tutorial every day, I think is huge. Everybody's happy to be meeting and have that available throughout the week this year, and special programs as well. And then a lot of it, I think, we can provide as much of these kinds of systems as possible, but it comes down to how badly the students want to get caught up and want to get back into the groove. And that's their responsibility. I feel that it's a two-way street. We can offer everything under the sun, but we need to convince the kids that their opportunities are theirs for them to take and take advantage of.
Thank you. Okay, on to a new question, and Mr. Shultz, you will answer this one first.
Okay.
The state of California has mandated that an ethnic studies curriculum be implemented in every high school and will be a graduation requirement. What are your thoughts on this mandate?
I think in the context of history, it's important to expand the curriculum in ethnic studies. In my high school, I don't remember all that much, but I do remember I had a driver's ed teacher who was Japanese American who said one day, okay, time out. We're going to spend the day, I'm going to talk about my experience being interned in World War II. And I had never heard about it before. It wasn't part of the history that I was taught in the social studies department. And believe it or not, we had Jerry Watanabe, who was a guidance counselor at Los Gatos High, come and speak to our students about that experience that she had to our students. And a colleague of mine who grew up in another state had never heard of it. Now that's a problem. We had a former principal of mine, Ted Simonson, I'm out of time. I wish I could tell the story, but anyways.
Maybe in your closing remark.
Okay.
Okay, great. We're gonna go on to Ms. Davies, same question.
Thank you. So I'm really fortunate in that my son is taking his ethnic studies class right now. He chose to be one of the students in the pilot for it this year. And I did get to meet with the teacher at Saratoga High School who's teaching it, and hear a little bit about the class and what it's about. And I was so excited to see the incredibly rich opportunity for our students, not only to learn about people and places that they don't usually get to experience, but to also take a really critical look at who's telling the story and what motives, what agenda, what they might have had when they tell that story. I thought this is just an incredibly rich opportunity for our freshmen to have, honestly, for the rest of their lives, being able to have that skill.
Thank you. Okay, same question to Mr. Guidry.
Yeah, I think we're all very strongly in support of it. And I think I would just want to add a couple of things. One is I am also extremely proud of our teachers, and especially a couple of them for stepping up when this first kind of came up and jumped in and said, I want to do this, and I'm going to develop a class, and I'm going to put this in place. And they've put a lot of time and effort, not just to take the state curriculum, but actually to develop a curriculum that is well tailored for our community. So I'm very proud of the teachers at both Saratoga and Los Gatos who've worked hard on getting this thing in place. And I also got the opportunity this past week when we visited Saratoga High School to talk with one of the students who is in the ethnic studies class, and she is really enjoying it. She was very happy. She thought we should get a lot more students into this program. And one of the things that came out of that was that we need to promote it more at the middle schools so that the kids are aware of this and sign up for it.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Guidry, you're going to be up first in this next one. And I want to give the timer a heads up. This will be a 30-second question. What's an interesting fact about you that someone probably does not know? Mr. Guidry.
Interesting fact about me that someone doesn't know.
Mhm.
Well, I guess one fact that a lot of people don't know is that I lived overseas for 3 years. So I worked in the Netherlands for 3 years, and I actually got my master's program in London, and I lived in London for 2 years. So I've had quite a bit of experience, not just in the US, but overseas as well. And those were some of the best years of my life. I really got a better understanding of our own culture by having a chance to see how different other people do things, including education. They do things very differently in education in Europe than they do here.
Thank you so much. And next is Mr. Shultz. Same question, 30 seconds.
Yeah, there's some things, but I really don't know whether I want to share them. And I'm kind of a dull person, to be honest. I think I really don't. I don't know. I've had a lot of neat experiences. I can't say one specific kind of thing that's interesting or more interesting than others without going into details of giving it context. Let me just say that.
Okay, that's fair. Thank you. And Ms. Davies, same question to you.
The people who know me know this, but I think the general voter probably wouldn't guess it based on my resume and my background. So one of my first majors, and I've had several because I, again, did not have great support for college, was music theater. And I'm a huge supporter of the arts, in addition to my science and math background. In fact, I'm the executive director for still one of our elementary musicals every year. I refuse to give it up. I just get too much joy out of it.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, now we're on to question 8, and Ms. Davies, you'll go first on this one. What are your ideas on addressing the mental health of students?
Wow, there's not enough time for this one. So I do want to make sure that we're focusing on the right things. And I loved the earlier comment from my colleague about resiliency, Alex Shultz. We have to start instilling some resiliency in our students. Many of our students believe that if they fail at anything, their lives are over. And it's really important for our children to be able to take risks. They're expected to just be able to be successful at everything and add on and add on and add on. And it's also really important for our children to learn that if they don't do everything, and if they don't do everything right away, it's okay. I love our mosaic programs that we have in our district. I think these are incredibly enriching. I wish we had more of it. And I wish we had more community education also. Many of us are type A personalities. We got here along one path. I think it's really important to learn that there's lots of different paths to success, and to make sure that our children understand that too.
Thank you so much. And next up we have Mr. Guidry, same question.
Okay, so address the mental health of our students. Sorry, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I think this has obviously been a top priority for our board for the whole time I've been there. If you look at the draft strategic plan that hopefully will be no longer a draft soon, it has several things that are related to mental health. And I think that's a big part of what we've put a lot of our effort in. I think the wellness centers and the effort that we're doing in that area is huge, trying to support all of our students and not necessarily just the ones that need immediate therapy. We also have gotten an in-house therapist so that we can ensure that the ones that do get more regular therapy have consistency and good support from that standpoint. And then I think we've done a lot in terms of helping the students to feel more comfortable at our schools. This has been a big issue predominantly in Los Gatos, to make sure that the students feel safe coming to school, and that if there is some kind of an incident happening, that they are willing to speak out and talk about it. And we're seeing a lot of good responses in that respect at both schools, a willingness to speak out when they see problems. And that, I think, will help everybody.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Shultz, you're next.
I think that coming out of COVID, we see a lot of the stress related to being isolated, and the fortunate thing that we have at both Los Gatos and Saratoga is we truly have two comprehensive high schools, and you hope that every student can somehow find whatever their passion might be. That's sort of the idea of a comprehensive school. We still have wood shop, we still have metal shop, we have great music programs, we have the drama and the art, and you hope that the students will find their place, their niche that gives them passion. And when you get that, that releases a lot of the stress and anxiety. You come to the day looking forward to something instead of perhaps dreading it. And I would say that maybe we need to reach out to students and get them into a sport, get them into the shops, get them into something to find their passion. And that would be probably one of the most helpful things we can do. And, these arts programs, whenever there are budget cuts, they're the first to go, and they're sometimes the very most important things that you can have at a school for the very reason that we're talking about right now.
Thank you. All righty, we're now on to Miss Davies. Same question.
I think I answered.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry, you guys. I got confused. This was. Oh no. This is. I'm so sorry, you guys. Mr. Shultz, this is for you. I got ahead on my little.
Yeah,
sheet.
I was thinking it was
I'm
my
so
turn
sorry.
first.
Okay. Sorry, that's all me. Okay, this question is, what is your view on the amount of reserves that the district should maintain to prepare for future economic uncertainties?
Yeah, so I know that there's a state mandate. I think maybe it's 2% or 3%. David could probably tell us what it is. And we've always, as long as I've been here, we've kept it at least 2 times what the state mandate is, and that's come in handy. There was some economic downturn. We were able to keep teachers on board. We financed the parcel tax, I think, with some of that excess reserve. But as I understand now, we have 5 times what is required. And personally, I think that's too high. We're being outcompeted salary-wise by many of our neighboring districts. And we're losing teachers to neighboring districts. And we have to figure out a way that we can compete. Many of these schools have Levi's Stadium generating income, or Google, some of the biggest corporations on earth. We don't have that. We're a bedroom community, but we have to find a way to elevate our salaries and compete in this valley.
Thank you. Now, Miss Davies, same question to you.
So we are different in our districts because we're what's called a basic aid district. And so that means that property taxes are really our primary form of income, which is different than many other places in California. So if we were not a basic aid district, we wouldn't really be allowed to keep more than 10% of our reserves. There were some studies done hired by the district that suggested that we ought to keep a much larger reserve, something that looks a little bit more corporate and a lot less public school district. Frankly, I think 5 to 10%, which is where we are now, is really honestly where we should stay. Thank you very much for building up a reasonable, healthy reserve. It doesn't need to be any higher. And exactly what my colleague Mr. Shultz mentioned is right. Especially post-COVID, especially in an inflationary world, we have to make sure that we're making really smart investment decisions at this point for the world we're in right now.
Thank you very much. And lastly, on this question, we have Mr. Guidry.
Yeah, so in terms of the reserves, actually, when I came on the board, we were somewhere around 5%. And I think it's important to recognize that if you hit a 3% reserve level, it's not like you're just at the state recommendation. The state actually will step in and take over control of your school district and decide for you what you should be doing if you go below that level. So It is not a guidance. It is a hard stop bottom, and we don't want to get anywhere near that. If you look at other basic aid districts like us, when I was on at 5%, the rest of them were all at around 10%. They've all grown to 15 to 20%. We've been lucky in terms of being able to, through a lot of fiscal conservatism and great work from our CEO, get our reserves up to about 15% now. That was right around the point where we had targeted for. We did that much faster than anyone expected to. And I think we don't really necessarily need to stay at this level. I think there's opportunities to invest, but we definitely don't want to be trying to spin this off just to get down to a lower level.
Thank you.
And I ran out of time to be able to talk about salaries. I'll try to do that in another one.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, next up, let's see. Now I've lost my place again. I don't even know how I did that. Okay, I know where I'm at. Never mind. Okay, we're on question 10, and Mr. Guidry, you're going to answer this one first. How do you see the role of the school board evolving with regards to freedom of thought, expression, and dialogue in the schools?
Wow, I'm not sure I completely understand that question. I would say that we absolutely support freedom of thought, freedom of expression. One of the things that we'd like to do more of, and we've trying very hard to find, is a way to raise student voice among the school and in the community. So we absolutely want to promote hearing more from our students. We encourage them to speak. We often talk about how the most intelligent comments that tend to come in our board meetings come from our students. They are thoughtful, they are considered, and they're accurate, and we really appreciate that. So in terms of voice, I think we want to do a lot more to make sure that our students feel comfortable in voicing their opinions and that we hear those voices in our community, because we have an amazingly smart and incredible student body at both of our schools, and I am insanely proud of all of our students, and I would love to hear them tell their stories.
Thank you so much. Okay, next we have Mr. Shultz. Same question. Do you want me to read it again, or are you good?
I'm just wondering whether if you could read it again. Yes, please.
Okay. How do you see the role of the school board evolving with regards to freedom of thought, expression, and dialogue in the schools?
Now, is this for everyone, or for teachers, or for students, or?
I think you can answer it any way that you see fit.
Well,
yeah.
We have academic freedom for teachers to be able to teach certain topics in a certain way that they feel is responsible and also gets kids thinking. I think that's like the primary goal that we have, is to try to get people thinking. David's exactly right. We have incredibly bright students. As a teacher, I would just love it when we'd bring up controversial subjects and we'd have different points of view, and they would be able to debate one another and respectfully. And that's part of the teacher's job, is to make sure that these are going on respectfully. But I would hope that we wouldn't get into a situation where the board is telling teachers or students that they have to think or teach in particular kinds of ways.
Okay, thank you so much.
I don't know if I'm interpreting the question correctly.
It's kind of open-ended. Honestly,
okay.
You all could interpret it differently, and that would be just fine. It's okay. Okay, and lastly, we have Miss Davies. Same question. Do you want me to read it, or are you good?
I'm good.
Okay.
We do have an incredibly active, particularly student population. The journalism at both schools is off the charts. We have significant issues in our community that frankly have been brought to light by the students and their active journalism, their active voice, film documentaries. They really deserve to be better listened to, in my opinion. And then I think one of the things I'd really like to do, here's my bias as the parent of those children who are actively going through right now, is to have a little bit more active engagement, deliberate, active engagement with those students, not just inviting them in, but actually seeking them out and making sure that the people who are doing school, the teachers and the kids, have a much more active voice.
So thank you so much. And this next question will be your last question and your closing statement. You each will have 90 seconds to respond to this question. What question do you wish you had been asked tonight and why? And Ms. Davies, you'll go first on this one. And again, you'll have 90 seconds.
So what I wish I'd been asked was about a plan for communication, a plan for engagement, a plan for future education. And I think my answer to that is I've been a lifelong learner. And that's because of the public education that I got early on that set me up so well for success now. And I really wish that we'd had a little bit more chance to talk because I know that both my colleagues, I could have learned from them also from their answers to that question about the ways that they've grown into the role, about the things they've learned, and about their strategies for continuing to learn. I've been trying to read all the books I can. I've been asking my colleagues. I've been going to coffee with folks. I do think that is a really important thing to ask all of us is how do we plan to self-improve and continue to grow into the role?
Excellent. Thank you so much. And next we have Mr. Guidry. You'll have 90 seconds.
Sure. Well, so first off, yeah, let me do another thank you to the League of Women Voters. And a huge thank you to Misty and Alex and all of our candidates for running for school board. We work as a group. I'm not just one individual. There's 5 of us at the end, and you have to work closely with all of the people. And I'm really pleased with the group of candidates that we have this year. I think they're an excellent group of candidates, and I would be honored to be working with any of them if I'm allowed to be able to stay on the board. So thank you very much for that. And then in terms of one of the questions, I guess, the one that I had on my list as number 2 was, why did you want to be on the school board, and what is the reason that you're running? For me, I'm running for a second term, and I think a large part of that had to do with the fact that after having been on the board for 4 years, I have a level of experience and a knowledge that I think really will be helpful and valuable to the board going forward. As we mentioned, we have a brand new superintendent. We will obviously have 2 brand new board members. So it's really important that we have some people that are experienced to support that. The other thing is that we just did a very big strategic plan that I think our new superintendent's going to be excellent for helping to implement. And a lot of that got put on hold by COVID. And I'd really like to have a term where I'm not spending most of that term fighting COVID-related issues and able to focus on the things that really can do a lot to improve the lives of our students. So that's really the other thing for me.
All right, thank you. And finally, Mr. Shultz.
Yeah, and thank you for providing this forum. I really appreciate it. Community appreciates it. And thank you, David, for your service the last 4 years as well. And really tough time to be on the school board, and appreciate the work that all of you did through this time period. The question that I would have liked to have had asked is about teacher mentorship. One of the things that we've done in science when I first started there is that you would be paired with a mentor, and you would be teaching the same subject, and you would spend your prep period, you'd give up your prep period to sit in their classroom and watch how they did it. And the nice thing is the lab would be all prepped for you, so you didn't have to prep all the lab materials, and you would watch them, and then 24 hours you would do the same thing. You had 24 hours to kind of put your own twists and turns and stories on it. And then the materials would get wheeled into your room, and you would do the lab or the experiment, whatever you were doing. the growth curve was tremendous. You get up and you start working with this mentor. You're immediately integrated into the department in a really positive way, and you feel like you belong, and you get expertise from someone who's done it a million times, and it helps you be successful. And I'd like to see that kind of mentorship extended to all new teachers in the district.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you very much to all you candidates. We wish you well in your campaign and so greatly respect your candidacy for these very important offices. Thank you so much for your participation. And I'm going to go ahead and give it back to Eleanor, who's going to carry us out to the finish.
Thank you, Julie. I too would like to thank our candidates. I really respect people who are willing to step up and run for office to represent their communities on a public board. I appreciate the work that goes into it and the commitment that goes into serving on such a board. So I too want to thank each one of you candidates, including the two that couldn't make it tonight, and wish you well in your campaign. Audience members, I would also like to thank you for your attendance and our voter service team who worked hard to put this whole candidate forum tonight. We hope all voters have learned a lot tonight that will help you when you're making your decision. But generally, again, in my league role, we want to remind everybody that our general election is coming up on November 8th. Again, you will be getting your mail-in ballot. I feel truly blessed to live in California, where we all get a vote by mail ballot. Unlike many states, we want everyone to vote. And so everyone gets their mail-in ballot. There's one of three ways you can return it: by mail, a ballot drop box, or a vote center. Again, I would like to point out to you some resources that you can use as a voter. We strongly recommend Voter's Edge, if we could have the next slide, which will give you information about nonpartisan information about candidates, measures, and campaign financing. Enter your address or your zip code and you get a copy of your personalized your personalized ballot, so that you are well prepared when you finally go to enter your votes that you want to enter. There are also additional resources that you might want to look at. If we could have the next slide. Many sources, and we do encourage all voters to look at different sources so that you are an informed voter when you finally submit that ballot. Again, Voter's Edge, the League of Women Voters of California, easy voter guides that are coming out at the end of September, certainly our government websites, the financial offices, and California Votes. So again, thank you, audience members, for attending this candidate forum tonight. I also want to tell people that everyone who attended will be receiving a follow-up email, which will give you a link to the recording. And we would like to ask our candidates to also publicize that in your material, so that anyone who was not here tonight who wishes to listen to this recording will have that available. So thank you very much and good evening. And remember, democracy is not a spectator sport. We welcome you to join us, our League of Women Voters of Southwest Santa Clara Valley. Again, we serve Los Gatos, Saratoga, Montecito, and Campbell. Good night.